Hello and welcome to State of the Economy. So we are now 20 days after demonetization of 500 and 1000 rupee notes, and we've all seen the kind of havoc it has wreaked on the economy short term. We are told that in the longer run we'll come out better, we'll come out more clean, we'll come out more productive. We have to wait and see that as politics and economics both have become very dynamic, changing by the day. As you've seen, we have been doing discussions on this subject last few weeks. So this week also we've got an expert, an economist who has been studying India's economy, India's policy developments over the past many decades. Dr. Surjit Bhalla, who's currently senior economist with the Observatory Group, a US-based macroeconomic advisory. Surjit is also a regular columnist with the Indian Express, a very provocative columnist, and he has very strong views too on the effects of demonetization and what sort of medium-term and long-term economic impact this will have on India's economy. Welcome to our show,
my pleasure,
Surjit Bhalla. So your view from what I've gleaned from your TV comments and your writings is that you support demonetization per se. However, you have put a caveat that if this is not followed up with a series of structural reforms, policy reforms, then by itself this could be a big black hole, minus those reforms. So,
yeah.
What exactly do you mean?
No, it's very simple.
Can you just give us what exactly what are the reforms do you think are really sort of necessary to support demonetization?
Yeah. Okay, first let's get something very, very clear. Demonetization, the policy pursued for the last few weeks, which is now in place, will not stop the creation of black money.
Okay.
Now, it will, I think, have a slight deterrent effect in the future for the creation of black money, but really not enough.
So what are you saying, that the next election could be fought with 2000 rupee notes?
Well, not the next election, that's too soon.
Yeah.
It takes about a year. So let us say 2018 onwards, we might be back to business as usual. I believe we very likely will be back to business as usual unless certain policy measures are taken.
Okay.
And so that's my view on demonetization, and you correctly phrased it, that if nothing comes about, if it's back to business as usual, this is a big thud. It's not a big bang. However, if attempts are made, policy attempts are made, new policies are initiated to stem the creation of black money, this will go down in history as the biggest bang we've got. And if you will, the bang is even greater than the 1991 reforms, which we all know and agree was a radical departure, radical positive departure for the economy from what had preceded it.
Okay.
So what are the policy reforms?
So, what are the reforms there?
Now, look.
Can you just prioritize it?
Yeah. So first and foremost, we've got to understand, and each of the policy reforms are meant to, if you will, stop the creation and or use.
Use, okay.
For example, let me start with something that you and I are both very, very interested in, and that is elections.
Yeah.
So that is a use. An election does not create black money, but it uses black money.
It releases kind of black money.
It releases black money into the system. And yes, and it often is white money of honest people who've earned it, and then either the tax department extorts it or the politicians extort the white money and then channel it into elections. So I think really a big thrust of the new era has to be election financing.
Okay.
As you know, that the government, the political parties, all the political parties say, listen, first of all, they're not under the RTI Act.
Yeah.
And I think they should be brought under the RTI Act. But more importantly, if you will, or equally importantly, is that they allow their income to be scrutinized. That is to say, accounted for.
Yeah.
but they don't allow their expenditures to be accounted for. And you can quite well see.
Even incomes, Surjit, I must sort of clarify, by some strange logic, political parties are allowed to have a large number of contributions from individuals
exactly below
under 20,000 rupees. So as a result, 80% of their
and we want to find out who these
collections are by individuals under 20,000. And strangely enough, Election Commission does not even seek information on who these people are. They're not supposed.
Yeah, no. Let's be fair on the Election Commission. Mr. Qureshi himself said that, listen, according to law, a Lok Sabha seat expenditure can be no more than 24 lakhs. Okay, that is as per the Election Commission law books.
But we all know it's.
And we all know.
It goes up to 10
he himself
crores.
said. So forget what you and I think. Mr. Qureshi said that often many electoral seats, Lok Sabha seats, are fought with 5 to 10 crore per seat, per candidate.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously, if there are two major candidates, that's 10
and
crores.
assembly, I'm told, is about 2 crores, 3 crores.
Exactly. So listen, this is a big, big black hole.
Yeah.
And this needs to be changed. So that's number one. And I'm not giving you to in any order, but I think it's a package that will do it.
Yeah.
And if you just do one. The second one, which I think all of us have experienced, etc., is bureaucratic discretion. In this case, read tax department discretion has to be substantially reduced. That is what creates black money. That is your white money. This guy says, please give me 50,000 rupees or whatever it is, and we will make sure your account is not checked. Now, mind you, as an honest taxpayer, you want your account to be checked. It should be checked. It is checked. All is doing it is to prevent you from harassment. That is, you're completely legal. You don't have any black money, but the guy can harass you. And he does harass you.
By the way, income tax has sent 2 lakh notices to people in the last 20 days.
Okay.
I hope you know that.
Okay.
They are appearing to be the cleanest guys today.
Exactly. So I think, look, we all know, and including the income tax, and I'm sure the BJP government knows, and I'm sure Prime Minister Modi knows that this is the case. There's something wrong.
And the police bribe.
Oh, police is the other big, huge corruption. Ongoing, actually, and I'm sure you have stories, I have stories of ongoing police corruption, whether you have demonetization or not. So, but that is connected to the third part that I want to come to. Let us take the police corruption and, if you will, the taxman's corruption. How does that arise? That arises mostly with guys who have black money. Now, let's define what black money is. That is the creation of black money when you don't pay taxes that you should pay. So therefore, I have a shop. Here comes a policeman, and I make sure I give him hafta ya mahina, jo bhi kuch hai, I give it to him. And that is why the illegal guy, notice the other two that I mentioned was legal money being transformed into black money or black expenditures. Here it is with the police, etc., taking hafta payments. It is black money being circulated amongst thieves, if you will. This needs to be corrected. Why does this arise? This arises because, and it's really a sad commentary on our citizens, on ourselves. Everybody in India, when I say ourselves, I literally mean all of us. We all have been forced, we all have either willingly participated in black money or been forced to participate in black money, creation or usage. This is something that I think it needs to be changed and changed radically.
People demanding in cash component if you're buying a house.
Yeah, that I'll come to last. So now what we need is significant tax reform. That is, in terms of what does significant tax reform mean? It means basically simplicity and lowering of tax rates.
And regulatory clarity.
And regulatory clarity and simplicity and lowering of tax rates does it. We saw there was a big jump in 1997 onwards, 3 years plus, a big jump in terms of compliance after Chidambaram brought about his famous tax reform, 10, 20, 30. And then it's been dormant since then.
Yeah.
And indeed, because of high inflation, people moving into higher tax brackets than they should have, what has happened is that your tax rate has gone up and your compliance rate has come down.
Okay.
So we need to rationalize
and simplify the tax
simplify
structure.
and reduce tax rates.
Exactly.
Okay.
So in this context, Surjit, just
sure, absolutely.
do you agree with the 6-slab GST that that these people are planning?
No. That's a simple answer.
Because if you have so many classifications,
exactly,
then people will start.
Let's come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you want is on the income tax rates, you want to reduce the tax rate and simplify it further so that now the shopkeeper, the doctor, the lawyer, the accountant, the middle class professional who's self-employed, if you're salaried, you cannot mess up. So basically, Doordarshan gives you a salary, you can't.
Yeah.
That is white money estate. It's the self-employed professionals that are the biggest creators of black money.
They have to file service tax returns, all kinds of things.
So we need to, so therefore, you need to lower the tax rates such that they say, okay, look, how much hassle do I have if my maximum tax rate was 20, 25%? I think it'll make a big dent and simplify, and you don't have the tax harassment. Now we come to, if you will, the GST. I think
because GST is being seen as one of the big
it is
pieces to attack black money.
Yeah, it is actually.
Generation of black money.
Generation black money. But you asked a separate question, which is, do we need 6 tax rates or 5 tax rates, as the case may be?
Because these classifications, people start paying bribes to move to lower tax classification.
One that. Secondly, notice the great political parties, especially the state parties, who, if you will, by any objective standard, are possibly the most corrupt in the country. They have made sure that petroleum taxes do not come under GST right now after a 3 or 4 year holiday, and, if you will, the real estate taxes do not come under, or the real estate sector does not come under GST. Let me come to the real estate sector. Look, you know, basically we have, and you know, this is the morality streak, as well as whenever I say morality streak, read that a politician is doing it in order to garner money, or somebody illegal is doing it. So let's take the real estate sector. How much we have a capital gains tax, long-term capital gains tax. On stocks is 0. On property is 20% and above. Okay? How much do they gather from it? 7,000 crores. Why not just eliminate it to 0? That is where a lot of discretion comes in. Your tax man benefits a lot. The tax man and the tax woman does not want demonetization, does not want reform. Their pocketbooks are going to be halved.
Sure.
So let us completely understand that this is your tax man, the tax authorities, they want it. So we should do away with capital gains taxes on this. And the second one, stamp duties. I mean, you know, that's an 18th century, 19th century concept. We are the only place in the world that has
even the ruling party at the state level wants stamp duties to remain. You know?
So that's why I think it's certainly the ruling, every party wants it, every political party wants it, because, and how much collection do they have? So what is the effect of it? We know that basically the tax revenue for the state is halved. Because we all do all kind of illegal things where the price of a house is 50% of what the stated legal price of a house is 50% of the actual price. Therefore, the state governments are losing revenue. These great politicians of ours are losing revenue for the state. They don't give a damn whether they're losing revenue for the state. It's their own pockets that are being lined. So therefore, we need no stamp duties at a minimum and no long-term capital.
So direct taxes,
so
simple, low direct taxes, GST, probably 1 or 2 rates, not 5, 6 rates that we have.
And you know, and the point is,
and if these things are not done,
this was done in now talking about GST. Basically, what we have is one report by Arvind Modi, which is a government report written in 2009, where he calculated and estimated that really the revenue neutral rate was somewhere around 12%. And then we have the Arun Subramanian report, which says that basically the revenue neutral rate
12,
is maybe
18,
15%. It's in that ballpark. There are two very distinguished economists, policymakers, who've come out with that estimate.
Yeah.
That is what we should gravitate towards. And I'm hoping that because of demonetization, there will be a fallback effect, as you rightly pointed out, on the GST, the 6 rates, the umpteen exemptions, etc. So I think this might be, if you will, not an unthought of benefit, but something we are not calculating when we're evaluating demonetization.
So you're saying, essentially, Surjit, you're saying that if these tax measures are not taken, the big tax reforms, then the gains of demonetization will not be there.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll get a temporary gain from demonetization, and it really doesn't make the exercise worth it at all. And the temporary gains are literally temporary. And
here, Surjit, tell me, what do you do to deal with the current stock of black money? Now, this is a big question which has come up during this debate, which is that the cash component of black money is barely 6% of the total black money, which may be 30% of the GDP or whatever. A report lying with Mr. Jaitley says it's closer to 45%. But whatever the total stock
I am very...
let me finish my question. So, if 6% is cash, then the others are in gold and, say, real estate. What do you do to sort of get this into the productive stream?
Okay. Now, you're saying,
especially
this
gold.
Is where my confusion is. Is black money, black cash money, 6% of GDP or 6% of...
No, it's 6% of the total of the 30% or 35%, which is the
1.8% of GDP. 1.8% of GDP is the cash component of black money. Okay. I have yet to see, so I'd like to see where these estimates come from. Okay. I'm actually in the process of estimating exactly this question.
Actually, there's a 1,000-page report prepared by NIPFP where they have studied each sector which generates black money, real estate, jewelry, what have you. And it's been given to Finance Minister Jaitley, not now, it was 1.5 years ago, lying with the SIT on black money, the special...
It's not just NIPFP. There were 3 organizations.
Yeah.
They were paid 15 crores, 5 crores each.
Sure.
It's mentioned in the Pranab Mukherjee's 2012 budget speech, and they all submitted their reports.
The NIPFP actually put it together, and that talks about 45% of GDP as a parallel economy. Yeah.
Well, let me take. I haven't seen the report, which
it has not been made public, but I've seen it. Yeah.
And I have had issues with NIPFP as they're economists. You're an economist. I'm an economist. That's fine. There isn't a single estimate of the GDP of the black economy of India
as a
being as high as 45%. So I would think, the ingenious calculations done by NIPFP need to be discussed. This is another reason why these reports should be made public. We can then either agree with them, disagree with them, refine them, improve them, and so on and so forth.
For instance, they've studied some cities for real estate, and they're talking about real estate being 50% in cash.
No, let's not discuss that because basically you haven't seen the report, I haven't seen the report, whatever it is. That what are the estimates?
I've seen the report, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you have seen the report? Then you should give a copy to me, then I can also see it. Look, as you know, economists will reach this very different conclusions with the same set of data, which is very good. That is what research is. And what the government is doing, what Pranab Mukherjee didn't allow to happen, now our president, is allow these things to be, if you will, discussed in open court. And then we can all reach our own conclusions. And we'll reach much better conclusions than we are reaching now.
So finally, the key question, how do you tackle the stock of gold in lying with households? I'm told it's...
You don't.
60–70% of GDP.
You don't. Because whatever that is, that's the wealth that I have, whether it is illegally begotten or legally begotten. Look, if we start saying, okay, you did this in the past, etc., then we are losing half the battle against
Actually, why, Surjit? Because a year ago, the government came up with an interesting scheme. it said, it told people that please bring your gold and give it to banks. You'll be given a gold certificate. It'll be for a period and you'll get the gold back. Meanwhile, keep that certificate and you'll get some little interest on it. They didn't get even 10 kilos of gold.
No, look, this points to, you're absolutely right, and this points to how the people view the government. If I brought in gold, I'm thinking now I will be harassed, etc., and extorted. Harassed / extorted by the powers that be. This is what everybody feels in India.
So this feeling
the government should make clear it is not necessarily we feel that BJP government is bad. This is the state.
It's the state.
It's the state of our economy, as your title is.
This is the bureaucracy.
This is a bureaucracy. This is Indian habits. This has been going on. You're not going to change that overnight. And I personally think bygones are bygones. This thing, if the demonetization does attack at some of the wealth, illegally begotten wealth because cash is wealth if it's confiscated. And let us now think about the future as to how we can improve the future radically. And if you will, if even half the policy measures that I have stated are done, we will have a tax bonanza. Because by definition, whether it is 45% of the economy or 20% of the economy, I subscribe to the notion that it's closer to 15, 20%. But be that as may, it's still a large chunk of tax revenue that you will get. So let us try and move towards that. I mean, we've got the technology to be a cashless economy. We want to proceed towards it. The rural areas cannot be cashless immediately. But in 5 years, I think that's a fantastic target to have. It allows for efficiency in terms of tax collection. It allows for efficiency in terms of distributing welfare gains by the direct benefit transfer, etc. You know, look, we are entering and have entered into a new world.
Tell me, Surjit, I want to ask you a very philosophical question. Just now you said something interesting. You said in India, people don't seem to trust the state. They think that state is predatory, right?
Yeah.
Now, there is a criticism that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he may intend well with many of these schemes, but he doesn't have control over his bureaucracy, the state, for the same set of schemes which he intends, which he means well with. The state comes down like a ton of bricks on people, like this 2 lakh notices, income tax notices to small depositors who may have given whatever 3 lakh rupees into the banks, and they are now having to prove that these 3 lakh deposits are doing historically go back and you know,
well, look,
give safai that these are tax paid cash that they're kept at home. So how do you deal with this problem? This state has become, if anything, more overwhelming in the last 2.5 years.
Well, I want to make a point about the state, and you'll find it shocking, having known me for the last 20, 30 years. I'm going to say something positive about the state, and this might be the first and last time I will say something. Look, I was shocked after the demonetization about the manner in which those who had black money wanted to escape the net of the state by having these money mules, etc., and such that you then had to bring in the inedible. Ex post, it seems a very brilliant idea to have the indelible ink on your hand. The fact that the state didn't think about it is, if I'm partial to them, they didn't think we'll stoop to such levels. So let us be clear. The state is predatory, has always been, but I think the people, the ingenuity, and ingenuity in quotes, is black ingenuity of the Indian population is something that should be respected, not necessarily admired. Okay? So I am very much in the camp that says that, listen, we are going to chart a new course, and if you don't subscribe to the new course, you're going to be in trouble. Now, one other thing on this that we have to, and the very important point that you just raised about the state, etc. To what extent is Modi's bold move of demonetization with, in my view, follow-up policies is exactly an attack on the bureaucracy, etc. The bureaucracy would not have been.
So,
right?
so in a way,
the bureaucracy loses.
So you include that in the reforms that you're talking about?
Oh, if we don't, you know, so right now we shouldn't include the state saying, listen, you have black money, you pay up.
So you're saying how it gets reformed in due course?
Yeah. And it is, you know, there are very few political leaders.
Essentially, you're suggesting that if there are structural reforms in the tax system, the state itself will naturally retreat.
Has to, by definition.
So I can conclude that we're running out of time. So
yeah, sure.
Basically, you're saying that these structural reforms are absolutely necessary for demonetization to bring the gains that people are talking about.
Absolutely necessary and desirable.
Desirable. Otherwise, it will be a black hole if those things don't happen.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right? Thank you very much, Surjit Bhalla, for talking to us. That's all we have in this edition of State of the Economy. We'll be back with you next week. Thanks for watching.